Wargaming just opened Pandora's box, in my personal opinion. Yeah, I am as surprised as you are. I didn't expect it to see the first tier 9 premium tank to come into the game this early. And as a marathon. And as a licensed tank to the Sabaton crew. Yeah, to say the least, we knew there was something coming, but they didn't told us what it was. So we just assumed, we as CCs, that this will most likely be a collaboration again with somebody like the boys, or somebody else like Sabaton again, or whatever the hell. And yesterday we got some information for Ricochet information as well as What Express saying, yes, the Stridswagen K is going to be the new vehicle. The tank which will be the marathon tank for the Sabaton crew. But we didn't really expect this tank to be the first tier 9 premium, because yes, this tank actually does make more money than your typical tier 9 tank. How much is kind of hard to say. Today during the stream I watched a little bit of Keyhand and somebody else snapped some pictures and I can show you to them right now. I don't know if this was a win or not, but he did 4,400 damage, got 1,200 spotting assist, and it doesn't really show how many, and he destroyed 6 and he made 120,000 credits plus an additional 96,000 from personal reserves. In a total 216,000. However, again, usually you will most likely only have personal reserves, maybe battle payments, I don't know, that's up to you. But in the end, as you can see right here, he only got 89,000 because Keyhand was shooting premium rounds only. This is the important number, 120,000. Next up we have this one right here. I'm not sure if this was a victory or a defeat, but the thing is, 2,600 damage, no real spotting, 77,000 credits. And here I have you a game I've played in the AE phase 1. It was a lose, 2,900 damage, some spotting, we got 1 kill, 43 grand. So yeah, it really depends if this was a lose or a victory, but it does look like it makes more credits, and this is actually confirmed by Wargaming themselves. Wargaming themselves did tell us that this tank basically has the same credit modifier a tier 8 premium would have. So for example, if we take the hypothetical number that a normal tech tree tank makes 100% credits and a tier 8 premium tank will make 120% credits, it will be the same with the new Stridswagen K. Hypothetically, all the tech tree, all the rewards like the AE phase 1 will make 100% credits, while the Stridswagen K will make 120. At least it looks like it's not going to be as big of a shit show as back in the days with World of Warships and the Misery, which right now stirred up again. So I guess Wargaming PC and World of Tanks did learn from the mistakes of their other game. However, I am quite a bit on the fence about this tank. The tank itself, when we just look at the stats, I wasn't able to play this tank yet. We don't have it yet. We will get it obviously for testing soon, TM. And I will leave you up with a feedback and a first impression video rather, and a review later down the road. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and give me that a follow. But yeah, that tank is basically underwhelming. That's what Keyhand told me, and that's what I can just see from the stats. It's basically a Kranwagen hull. It's exactly the same as a tier 10 Kranwagen, which isn't really good. It is slower, however. It doesn't have the 60 kph top speed, and it has a Centurion 7.1 turret, which means it is not that good when it comes to hold down, because you have this plot like here, you have this spot like right here, which is 254mm thick, meaning everybody which is spamming the premium rounds will have no issue penetrating there. And you have a pretty decent-ish sized cupola. To that you have a very bad gun handling and 2000 DPM base, which is really not good for 390 alpha. It's one of the lowest alphas on tier 9 heavy tanks. Before anybody says, but Raging, be happy that the first tier 8 premium is not a powerhouse. Yes, I'm totally happy with that. But again, as the title of this video suggests, is this the opening of Pandora's box? Because it is, in my opinion. It's just Wargaming suddenly tapped into a whole new tier to sell premiums in. We don't know yet what the price will be. People are thinking that the tank will be around 80 euros or the marathon. Some people even say from the Watt Express crew that it will be exactly the same price as your tier 8 what's it called, marathon tank. So it will be 60 euros, or I guess 60-ish dollars, $65. I'm not sure about that. Maybe this one will be around 70. The question is, like, 3 months down the road, and this is like the biggest problem I have with this vehicle. 3 months down the road, 4 months down the road, they are selling this tank now solo. Maybe around 40, 45-ish euros, because it's a tier 9 vehicle. It's actually fairly cheap if you look at the competition, which would be War Thunder as well as World of Warships. Both titles are selling tier 9 premium vehicles or top tier premium vehicles for around $60. For the people which are 60 euros rather on EU. For example, War Thunder just recently announced a new Phantom, which is for the Chinese tech tree. It's a premium plane at the highest BR bracket which they have, or one of the highest BR brackets, aka it's basically a tier 9 equivalent, and it will cost $60 in its package with a little bit of premium and a little bit of gold, which they also have right there. So yeah, if this will be around 40-45 euros, it sounds fairly cheap compared to the competition. The biggest problem is, however, and this is just something which will most likely happen, and it will happen, tier 9 is a great tier. It's a great BR, it's a great tier in World of Tanks. You can only get up tiered to +1, and you can get down tiered to -2, meaning you will at most see tier 10 vehicles, which you still should be able to fight against easily or decently, and you will sometimes see tier 7s, which you will usually be able to ruffle stomp. A tier 8 premium, on the other hand, has the issue, obviously, if he sees tier 10 vehicles like the Sumo SM, a tank which I recently, or basically an hour ago, free mark, it will has its problems. It generally does. It's not a good tank against tier 10s. You lack the penetration, you lack the armor, etc. The same would go for a tank like the T-34, even though it's buff and it's actually fairly nice, whoopsie, to play. Not that good against tier 10 vehicles. The turret sucks, the DPM sucks, and so on. The mobility sucks still against tier 10s, and the pen is also rather meh. But yeah, 3-4 months down the road, somebody sees it's like, oh my god, it's a first tier 9 premium tank. I totally gonna buy this, and it's Sabaton, my favorite band. Not judging there. But keep in mind that this tank has a lot higher impact than a tier 8 vehicle in most games it's going to play. So if you, for example, have a new player which doesn't know anything about the game, buying themselves onto tier 9, you will have a problem. And this is just my biggest fear, that monetizing tier 9 like this will make tier 9 sooner or later unplayable. Because who is holding Wargaming back to buy other tanks, you know, or make other tier 9 premiums? We already discussed that, or we can discuss that down here. There are several tanks already in the fights which Wargaming could sell. What about this WZ-120 GFT, which is already been sold on a Chinese tech tree? It doesn't really look good, but it's a tier 9 premium. What about the Object 752? A Russian autoloader on tier 9 with decent clip potential, meh DPM and weird gun handling, but you could just see in it right here, absolutely bonkers turret armor, except for the cupolas, which are fairly weak. What about Lorraine 50T? Okay-ish armor, bad DPM, but amazing turret armor with a cupola quite far behind, and look at that mobility. Basically achieved without DPM. What about the sniper units? And we can go on and on and on. Maybe Wargaming wants to introduce again the SU-122-54. Let's be honest, it wouldn't be the first time Wargaming reintroduced the tank which they removed back in the days. You know, this thing, a lot of people want it again. Maybe they introduce it as well as a premium. And this is just kind of like the problem I'm having right now. Not only did Wargaming recently introduce Frontline for tier 9s, which I heard mixed feelings about. Like some people say, yo, it's much easier to get credits because I can farm the tier 9s. But now they are actively selling tier 9 premiums. Then who is holding them back to suddenly introduce a tank which doesn't like a Concept 1B, which is very strong, suddenly to tier 9. And the Concept 1B is just a prestige vehicle to kind of wank yourself off with high DPG numbers and maybe free marks. That's about it. But with a theoretical strong tier 9 premium tank, you are actively going to play it because you can make boatloads of money with it, while not having the issue of having to fight against tier 11 tanks in theory. One good thing about this is still that tier 8s are pristine in the sense that they are able to be used in strongholds and stuff like this. So you have the ability to still be in your enclosed thing, and you will still be able to make loads of money when you're playing strongholds with tier 8s, which the tier 9s obviously cannot do. But the thing is, this new tank just leaves a sour taste in me. Like it's basically like I just brush my teeth and now I'm drinking orange juice. It just tastes awful. It's just how it is. Not only did we recently got tier 9 frontline, suddenly Wargaming starts selling tier 9 premiums. Oh, interesting. Then who is holding them back to suddenly introduce a tank which is, whoopsie, a little bit too strong, which might break balance even more? How will it be for you when your tier 9 heavy tank is a total potato because he just bought himself up? New player, 20 games, and boy, I'm a Sabaton fan, I'm totally going to buy the Sabaton tank. You know? That will make games even quicker. Especially when we are not getting somewhat something resembling a more or less balanced matchmaker. And lastly, I saw some people throwing around the argument, oh my god, it's so pay to win because you can earn bonds with it. I think this is the least amount of problems. I actually would like Wargaming to reintroduce being able to earn bonds from medals for everybody. But the thing what I wanted to say about this is, this thing makes 100 bonds per week, like the tier 10 vehicles. So you basically just have to, like, you could say that I'm OP, I can grind 7,300 bonds, soon 7,400 bonds per week. Am I going to do that? No, I'm not a maniac. It's generally not what I'm going to do. Because there would be so many games to just play random tanks I generally don't enjoy playing, like the T62A, for example. But nobody's going to do that, and I see this as an argument against tier 9 premiums kind of bad. I generally think that Wargaming could reintroduce it. And lastly, one argument which is like, oh, Raging, you can buy yourself into tier 9 anyway. Yeah, that's true, the Battle Pass is the same deal. Back in the days, you weren't able to get those tanks for money. Now you can not only buy those tanks with added benefits through just the Battle Pass itself, but no, you even have to, if you are a free-to-play player, or if you are a person which doesn't want to spend money in this game, you have to pay at least 2,500 gold to get those 2 new tanks. That's the bare minimum you have to pay to get those 2 tanks. So yeah, like for me, again, wrapping all this thing up, I'm sorry if this video is a little bit, how should we say, not really well thought out. It's just me blabbering around my personal thoughts and opinions on this stuff. But the thing is, it just is a sour taste. As already said, count several times in this video. It leaves a sour taste and it opened Pandora's box. How regularly are we going to see tier 9 premiums? Will they shape the game? Will the games which already have a little bit of a weird dynamic, aka a lot of 5:15, 5-minute games, a lot of quick games, how will this going to influence this? The fact that everybody can easily buy themselves into top tier. My name is RagingRaptor, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, if you like to know my opinion on stuff. And don't forget that soon we are going to have a review of the STRV K, which I'm trying to do as objective as possible, while also giving you a subjective view at the end. Cheers, and I'll see you around.